Right, Tyler, great to see you here in Toronto. You're somebody who I remembered a couple of years ago in Vale. You did very, very well, and yet we've not seen you around much. So, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, because you're an Englishman living in New York, to coin that song.
So yeah, I moved to the States in 2007, and went back to Europe for a bit after that, and then came back for university. And so I've been in the States now pretty much since 2009. Solidly for the last 5 years, I guess, and now I'm living in New York, and yeah, so that's where I am right now.
Why did you come over to the States? What reason?
Well, my parents are from the States. I grew up in London and lived there till I was 17, and I came out for the education for university, and my whole family lives out here now. So. Yeah.
So this is where you're settled. So, but you still wear a GB on your back, so you still got that little sort of heartstrings tugging back to London.
Yeah, I still feel like I'm from London. You know, I spent 17 years there, and I've only spent 5 in the States, or 6 now. So I still feel like I kind of became the person who I am there. And you know, I don't have family there anymore, but friends, and sort of just I connect with the culture more than the States. And of course, I could actually compete for America because I have dual citizenship, but I'd much rather represent the UK.
Well, one thing we've noticed about you, there's not many people on the IFSC World Tour when we see like lots of one-off guys arrive. And I remember seeing you in Vale 2 years ago and was like, hold on, this kid can actually climb really well. And you ditched out in the semis then. But I know 4 years earlier, actually, 2008, your only other World Cup, you came 6th. You actually reached the final. In fact, Graham was telling me a funny story about how he gave you a yellow card and told you you're in the final at the same time. So you don't climb a lot on the IFSC World Tour, but you obviously you are climbing a lot because you're in great shape.
Yeah, so I climb pretty consistently. Sometimes it's just once a week, at times it's been once a month, but I never really stop for super extended amounts of time, so it never takes me that long to get like back in the swing. Yeah. But yeah, you know, so 2008 I did Vale. That was the first time they ever had Vale, and it was a really hard comp, like really powerful, and it just suited me well. I made finals, and then I did 2012, which is what you remember me from, and made semis. And yeah, it's really hard to make finals, but back to what you were saying about not doing that many World Cups, yeah, it's just like a lot of them are in Europe, and it's hard for me mentally to travel that far for a competition, because I'd rather travel that far to climb outside, you know? Yeah. And so this one, it wasn't really that far for me to come, and same with Vale. If it's in North America, like I can about handle that, yeah.
So what you're saying is you're not an ultra-competitive type who has to win competitions. You love climbing. Yeah. When the climbing's if there's a competition in your backyard, you'll knock it with the big boys here. Yeah. How do you find it then when you're suddenly looking across and you're seeing Fischuber and, you know, some of these really like legends of the sport sort of climbing on the same wall that you're competing on?
Yeah, I'm definitely not intimidated by them, and I feel like, you know, they're just really good at the comp scene, and they've been doing it for so long, and they're so experienced. But I feel, you know, I feel that sort of confidence when I go outside or go to a different area or whatever, like go to the gym by myself for like a session. I feel that sort of like confidence that they can bring here. I can't bring that level of confidence to the comp just because it still rattles me. I've only done 3. Yeah. So, and you can, you know, in isolation, you can see the guys who like feel so at home in there. They just like, they've been doing it for so long, and it just all feels super normal to them.
Well, it's interesting just seeing you here, and you know, I was watching you like looking at one of the problems that you didn't have such a good time with earlier. You've qualified through to the semis, and you know, sometimes people with your sort of outlook on the sport usually do really well because they get very upset when they don't do well. And you seem to have that, you know, facet about your, you know, you do really have lows when you don't compete to your ability, don't you?
Yeah, I think it can work well, and it can work to your advantage, and it can definitely go the other way too. It's really hard to know how you're doing. You know, like when you don't do a problem, when you don't do a problem and you feel like you should have, or you then find out that someone else has done it who like you feel like you're better than or whatever. It's like it's really easy for someone like me. Like I'm pretty competitive, just to be like, oh, you know, I've blown it now or whatever. But it's the most important thing is just to like try and forget about it and like move on to the next one. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah, I get pretty frustrated, and if you can channel it towards the climb, that's good. Yeah. And if you let it bring you down, then you know it's so mental. You can just blow it in your head.
Well, I think we've got to go because they're setting up for the women's qualification here. But Tyler, lovely to speak to you and to find out a little bit about you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cheers.